During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has
There is a photograph inside the Epstein files that the Department of Justice released to the public, then removed within 24 hours, then quietly put back. It shows Trump, Melania Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell together. The DOJ said it was removed to protect victims. But Melania Trump is not a victim. Trump is not a victim. Maxwell is a convicted sex trafficker serving 20 years, and Epstein is dead. So whose identity exactly was being protected when that specific photograph disappeared from the government website less than a day after it was posted? That question has never been answered. And it sits alongside a series of other questions that this hearing is quietly building toward. Questions about what Pam Bondi knew, questions about what is still being hidden, and questions about why the First Lady of the United States felt it necessary in April 2026 to issue a rare public statement denying any ties to Jeffrey Epstein, unprompted, without being asked. People who have nothing to hide do not usually issue statements saying they have nothing to hide. Watch this hearing carefully. Because what Congressman Lieu is doing here is not just confronting an attorney general, he is laying out a chain of documented evidence that points toward questions nobody in power seems to want fully answered.
Now I recognize the gentleman
20.
from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face.
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop
the clock.
the legislation. This is
I'd like to reclaim my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He doesn't
You're allowed
want to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam
add
Attorney
lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time.
So here is what you just watched. And here is the full documented picture behind it. Congressman Lieu made 3 specific moves in that hearing, each one more serious than the last. The first was the Prince Andrew photographs. He showed Bondi 2 photographs of a documented sex trafficking victim with Prince Andrew and established on the record with Bondi's own confirmation that those photographs show a crime being committed. He then cited the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, which makes not just Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronized his operation guilty of a crime. And he asked directly why Bondi closed the investigation in July 2025 without charging a single person. The DOJ's July 2025 memo said they found no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. But the photographs Lieu held up that day were inside the files the DOJ itself released. They are evidence. They are documented. And the DOJ looked at them and said there was nothing to investigate. The second was the Trump question. Lieu showed a video of Trump at a party with Epstein and asked directly whether there were underage girls present. Bondi said there was no evidence of a crime. Lieu then said he believed she had just lied under oath, and he produced a document to support that claim. A witness statement from someone who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, who drove Trump in a limousine, who reported overhearing a phone call, who reported meeting a girl who told him she had been assaulted. That witness was never interviewed by the DOJ, not once. The third was the broader accountability charge. Over 1,000 survivors, 0 prosecutions of any man connected to Epstein's operation, and an attorney general who, when confronted with photographic evidence of a crime, said there was nothing to investigate. Now, here is where Melania Trump enters this documented picture. Her name appears in the Epstein files. An email was released showing Melania writing to Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker, in what she described as a casual social communication. She signed it, "Love Melania." That email exists. It is in the public record. It was released by the DOJ. The email was sent the same month that a New York Magazine article was published in which Trump called Epstein a terrific guy who likes beautiful women, many of them on the younger side. And then there is the photograph, file 468, a photograph inside a drawer in Epstein's home showing Trump, Melania, Epstein, and Maxwell together, released to the public on a Friday, removed from the DOJ website within 24 hours, along with 15 other files. Democrats in the House Oversight Committee immediately asked Bondi publicly, is this true? What else is being covered up? The DOJ said it was removed to protect victims. But legal experts and journalists who reviewed the file noted that Melania Trump and Donald Trump are not victims of Epstein. Maxwell is the perpetrator. So whose victim status exactly required removing that specific photograph? The DOJ later restored it. But the removal itself raised a question that was never answered cleanly. Who made the decision to take it down? Was it a legal decision or a political one? And why was the photograph of Trump, Melania, Epstein, and Maxwell specifically one of the 16 files that disappeared? Then in April 2026, something happened that nobody had predicted. Melania Trump issued a rare public statement, unprompted, without being asked directly by any specific news outlet. She said she is not Epstein's victim. She said Epstein did not introduce her to Trump. She said she had no knowledge of Epstein's abuse of his victims. Think about the timing of that statement. It came after millions of pages of Epstein files had been released, after her name appeared in an email to Maxwell, after the photograph was briefly removed and restored, after an NPR investigation found that documents specifically naming Trump had been withheld from the files, after Congressman Lieu stood in a hearing room and accused Bondi of lying under oath about evidence in those files. Nobody asked Melania to make that statement. She made it anyway. And the questions that statement raises are more interesting than the denials it contains. If the files fully exonerate everyone in the Trump circle, why were documents specifically naming Trump being withheld according to an NPR investigation? If the photograph removal was purely about victim protection, why did it specifically include the image showing Trump, Melania, Epstein, and Maxwell? If there is no evidence of any crime, as Bondi testified, why did a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center never get interviewed? And if Pam Bondi was telling the truth when she said there's no evidence of a crime, why did Congressman Lieu say on camera, on the record, in a congressional hearing, that he believed she had just lied under oath? The DOJ has not charged a single man connected to Epstein's operation. Not Prince Andrew, not anyone. Over 1,000 survivors have waited. 3 million pages of files are still missing. A photograph was removed and restored without a clear explanation. A first lady issued an unprompted denial, and the attorney general who oversaw all of this was fired by Trump in April 2026, the same week Melania made her statement. Is all of that a coincidence? Or is it a pattern of something that has not yet been fully explained? Those questions deserve real answers. And so far, nobody in a position to give them has been willing to sit under oath and do so. If you think accountability matters, subscribe and stay with us. This story is still developing, and there is much more to follow.